Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to our Ultimate Consumer Seminar tonight. Is Chuan Park really a good choice? In tonight's Ultimate Consumer Seminar by ERA, our speakers will discover why Chuan Park is a prime choice for both ownership and investment. To kickstart this seminar, I would like to invite our first speaker, Eugene. A dedicated property investor, is not only ranked among ERA top project transactors, but also shine as a visionary leader. His exceptional leadership as a top project division director in 2022 and 2023 has earned him widespread recognition, guiding his team to remarkable success and setting new standards within the industry. So, without further ado, let's welcome our District Division Director of ERA, Eugene Kang. Over to you, Eugene.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Eugene Kang. Thanks for joining me this evening. Okay, to talk about is Chuan Park really a very good choice? Okay, so this webinar is for education purposes. So if you are interested to purchase a unit at Chuan Park, do reach out to your trusted advisors, and we'll assess your situation individually, okay, so as to provide the best advice possible. The topic that we are going to cover today, right, is basically, is it safe to enter the property market right now? And is this the right time to enter the property market? Is a new launch or resale a safer choice? And lastly, what are the key drivers for capital appreciation? Before I pass on to my partner, Eugene Ko. So during my contacts with a lot of my clients, okay, actually clients have some thoughts or concern in mind. And these are two of the most common questions that I get. Okay, the first question is that, is there actually oversupply in the market? And secondly, is that whether the property market is going to correct itself. Okay, so firstly, we are going to dive in into these two questions. Okay, and hopefully we can provide more interesting insights for you. Okay, so the first question is there actually oversupply? Okay, so in the newspaper articles recently, sometimes there were positive news and sometimes there are negative news about the market. And one of the news is that the new home sales has actually sunk to the lowest for the first half of this year after a slow June period. Okay, so sometimes when the newspaper report the article, okay, the reporting is more to attract the readers and they actually sensationalize the news a bit. So we have to understand the data, okay, to make sense of the data, okay? So one thing we have to understand is that, is there really oversupply, okay? And one interesting thing we have to look at, one metric that we have to look at is actually the new homes absorption rate, okay, which is the number of units sold per month over the number of units launched per month, okay? So one of the key reasons why the sales have actually dropped in the first half of 2024, right, is because during this year, actually the number of launches is actually lesser, okay, due to the fact that the developers are still prepping for a few bigger projects at the end of this year. And one of the bigger projects that some of us are waiting to buy is actually the Chuan Park, okay, which people are actually waiting to buy certain projects. And we cannot buy the units that are not for sale yet. Okay, so one of the reasons for the low sales is because the more highly interested projects are not in the market yet. Okay, and we believe that the second half of this year, we will see some launches with very, very good sales results. So going back to the absorption rate, right? Okay, what we can see is that in the first half of 2024, although the absolute number of units sold has been on the low side, but actually the absorption rate is at a high point of 97.5%. That means 97.5% of the units launched was actually sold in the first period. This actually compared quite favorably to years in 2019, 2020. Okay, and you can see in 2021 and 2022, right, actually there was more units sold as compared to the number of units launched. Okay, because during that time there was the COVID period, so there was fewer launches, and this actually leads to lower supply in the subsequent years. Okay, so the next slides, okay, we will show you what is the consequence of this phenomenon. Okay, we can see that sometimes we do know that there is supply in the market, but how much supply is oversupply and how much supply is actually a normal supply. Okay, so if we ran data for the last 16 years, or sorry, for the last 18 years, what we do know is that during the high peak periods, right, the supply can be as high as 44,000 units that were unsold in the market. Okay, and if we compare over a period of 10 years, the average supply in the market is actually 23,000. Okay, which is the normal. Okay, so we can see that due to the high absorption rate in 2019 and 2020, actually the supply is below the 10-year average right now. And right now in the first quarter of 2024, right, actually our supply is below the 10-year average. We are now only at about 20,000. Okay, so hopefully at the second half of this year, we have more supply and more interesting units for you to buy for. Another thing about absorption rate, right, is that typically in the Singapore market, about 9,200 units will be sold per year. Okay, if you take the average. Okay, which means that every year, right, about 10,000, close to 10,000 new homes will be sold. Okay, so with the current supply of about 20,000, right, okay, it will take only 2.2 years for all the units, okay, to be sold. So of course, okay, even with 20,000, you know, not all the units will be there's imperfect matching, you know what I mean? So some people in let's say the Chuan area might not want to pick a unit, a 3-bedder in the Jurong area, which is why there's always a residual supply of 20 over 1,000 in the market, right? So that everybody can find their preferred homes. Okay, so we can see that the natural absorption rate of 10,000 a year is the normal absorption rate, and right now we are actually below the average supply. And this 10,000 number, right, actually tells us a story as well. Who are the people that are actually buying the unit? Okay, the units are actually bought by genuine home buyers in the market. Okay, one very interesting statistics that we have seen, right, is that from the year 2013 to 2023, okay, actually the number of households that move from to private housing, right, actually increased by close to 100,000 households. So this 100,000 household, if you divide by 10 years, right, is exactly 10,000 a year. Okay, what this means is that the absorption rate per year, right, is actually bought by genuine home buyers. Either they are an upgrader or they buy it, okay, to stay or for investment, but they are actually owned by specific household and not one person own, you know, 10 or 20 house. Okay, so this is one very important point. And who are these buyers? Okay, so we know that some of these buyers can be HDB upgraders for larger units. Okay, some of the buyers, interestingly, are right-sizing from landed because, you know, landed houses or mansionette, sometimes, you know, it requires you to climb up and down. And some of them, they actually prefer to buy a house that's nearer to the MRT because they are not, you know, trying to drive anymore. And they prefer to stay somewhere near the MRT and amenities. Sometimes it's parents helping children, okay, to start to invest in their first property because they know that if their children take another 5 years to save money, the property might increase by a lot in the next 5 years. So they start to give their children some assistance. Okay, the fourth group is young affluent couples or even singles, okay, who prefer, you know, to start off straight away to buy a condo, okay, because, you know, their income is pretty high. Okay, so we'll go through all these points later. And one more thing that we have to take note of is that sometimes in the newspaper, they see reports that, 30% of a certain project is sold, or, 20% of a certain project is sold. And actually, if you take a time machine and you go back to the past, okay, actually these numbers are very, very normal. Okay, Jadescape, one of the project that is a very, very nice project near to Marymount MRT. Okay, some of the listeners here may have regretted, not committing to the project, okay, because it's a very nice project. Actually, during the launch day in 2018, they have sold 330 units, which is less than 30%. Okay, another very good development, right, which is Park Esta, okay, in the Eunos area, okay, sold 329 units, which is also less than 30%, okay, which is actually a very normal sales result, okay, in 2018, okay. But fast forward to 2024, maybe we have forgotten, the situation at that point of time. And what are the results for these two launches? Is that actually they have strong capital appreciation, okay, because of the specific characteristics of these two developments, which later my partner Eugene will be going through later. Okay, but you can see that both these developments have attained pretty good capital appreciation over the last 5 years. Okay, for Jadescape, some of the capital appreciation even went up to $1 million for the larger units, and for Park Esta the same. Okay, you can see very strong 6-digit capital appreciation. Okay, which we will go through later on how to choose the right project. Okay, so we have covered the first point of oversupply. Another questions that I do get very often, right, is that is the market actually going to correct itself? Okay, is the market actually going to correct itself? Okay, so what I want to say is that, last year in 2023, the government actually came up with a very strong message to cool the market. Okay, the government came up with a very strong message. Okay, so last year when the economy was opening up, people started traveling, right? There was some anticipation that there will be a lot of flow of funds from overseas. Okay, but the government actually took very drastic measures. Okay, they actually increased the additional buyer's stamp duty. Okay, they actually increased the additional buyer's stamp duty. And very importantly, right, the additional buyer's stamp duty of foreigners was increased from 30%, okay, to 60%. Okay, this is almost as good as telling foreigners, not to come and buy, okay, in that aspect. Okay, for Singaporeans as well, for the second property, it increases to 20%, and the third property increases to 30%. Okay, so how does this affect the property market? Okay, so in a normal mindset, we would think that with the cooling measure, the property market price would correct itself. Okay, but so far the property market has been very resilient. Okay, but we do see some good things that came out from this. Okay, first and foremost, right, the ABSD increase reduces foreigner buyers. Okay, so there are some projects, for example, like in the Sentosa area, where it's affected. Okay, this is because these projects initially was already designed to be more appealing to foreigner buyers. Okay, so for local Singaporean, sometimes we do care more about school and MRT and things like that. Okay, and which is why it's very, very important to choose the right project, which we will go through later. Okay, but essentially, right, the whole purpose of this ABSD increase, right, actually create a more sustainable real estate market. And very importantly, right, the locals are not priced out. Okay, imagine now that the ABSD has increased, from 30% to 60% for foreigners, and the price have not shifted downwards. Imagine if the ABSD was not increased, right? The local people will find even more difficult to buy, to upgrade, to achieve the aspiration of upgrading, isn't it? Right? So the main purpose for increasing the ABSD is actually to create a sustainable real estate market. so that the locals are not priced out, especially the Singaporean first-timer, which do not have to pay an ABSD. And we do know that projects that are very in a very good location, and what I mean by good location, you do have certain points that Eugene Ko will share with you later. They still do very well. Okay, so we do need to find a property with a robust secondary market. Okay, what I mean by a robust secondary market, right, is that sometimes buying a property, right, like, you know, some people, they lost money by investing in overseas property. Okay, for example, like in Malaysia or Cambodia, right, it's because those properties they bought, there are no local secondary demand. Okay, so they only hope that, you know, they can sell it to fellow foreigners. Okay, so buying those property is a higher risk because the market is already very small. Okay, so you do not really have an exit strategy. Okay, so if you buy a property in Singapore and you do buy into those kind of properties that appeals more to foreigners, then of course the risk is higher. Okay, which is why it's important to find a property with a robust secondary market for locals. Okay, another interesting thing that ABSD actually does, right, is that it actually affects local buying behavior. Okay, so this is something that I think has not been very detailedly explained before. Okay, so imagine in our mind that if there's no ABSD in Singapore, okay, somebody who invests in a one-bedroom condo, okay, after he has accumulated enough wealth, right, okay, he would have enough money and he would go and buy a second one-bedder condo, isn't it? Okay, one to stay and one to get rental. And when this person has accumulated even more wealth, he will have bought another one and another one and another one and another one. And eventually he could own up to maybe 10 or 8 properties, okay, for himself. Okay, if one day, okay, something very drastic happened, okay, if one day the economic crash, okay, there's an economic crisis, okay, or there's a political crisis, okay, like the Ukraine war, this person would sell 8 of his 10 properties into the market. And what will this cause? This will cause a property market to crash, okay, because there's an abundance of supply and there's nobody who wants to buy. Okay, so this is a phenomenon that is quite prevalent in other parts of the world. But how does the ABSD affect local buying behavior, right? Is that in Singapore, you can't do something like that. Okay, so in Singapore, it's different. Okay, so if this person, okay, for example, his name is John. Okay, if John has a one-bedder and John, you know, he worked very hard to accumulate enough money, you know, he can't buy another one-bedder because he has to pay a 20% ABSD. Okay, so it's very hard pain, right? So he will have to sell his one-bedder, okay, and with the money from his one-bedder, he will buy a two-bedder. Somebody else, another person, maybe Paul, will buy his one-bedder, and this person will get to enjoy his one-bedder, and John will get to enjoy his two-bedder. Okay, and 5 to 10 years later, when John has accumulated even more wealth, John will sell his two-bedders, and John will move into a three-bedder. Okay, so somebody else will buy the two-bedder, and somebody else will get to enjoy the two-bedder. Okay, so what does this mean, right? Is that instead of one person, you know, hoarding a lot of properties, okay, our properties are actually bought by many people. Okay, in order for you to buy one, you have to sell your original one. Okay, so this actually reduces oversupply. Okay, which is why you see that the absorption rate of 10,000 homes per year is actually bought by real human being, okay, over a long period of time for genuine reasons. Okay, so in imagine if there's a financial crisis, which happens sometimes, or if there's a political upheaval, which is like the Ukraine war, in Singapore, the property market doesn't crash at all. Okay, because there's no oversupply, there's nothing to flood the market at all. Okay, so this is one very good reason why the ABSD market makes our local property, the ABSD made our local property market so stable. Another few interesting points, right, another few interesting points on top of the ABSD is the loan to value ratio and the total debt servicing ratio, as well as the seller stamp duty, the SSD, which also make our property market more sustainable. Okay, let me go into depth of this. Okay, the loan to value ratio or the total debt servicing ratio, right, actually leads to more prudent borrowing. Okay, so in Singapore, you can't, go to the show flat and borrow 90% of the purchase price. Okay, the maximum loan to value ratio is actually 75%, and it's very heavily dependent on your income and your age. Okay, so the monthly debt obligation is inclusive of your, your car loan, your credit card and stuff like that, and it's only capped at 55% of your income. Okay, so this means that all of us are very prudent in our borrowing. Okay, so this means that there's less fire sales. Okay, when we go and do property, right? Sorry, when we go and buy property, the bank actually checks that, our income is okay, all these kind of things, before they lend us a loan. Okay, so there's very, very little bad debt in Singapore. Okay, lastly, okay, the seller stamp duty also prevents speculation. Okay, so some of you, okay, may have been very experienced in investing properties, or you have heard from some of your relatives, older relatives. Last time they say they can flip property. What is flipping property is you buy a property and 3 months later you sell it at a higher price. Okay, so this is a very speculative kind of behavior called flipping. Okay, but the seller stamp duty, right? In order to avoid the sales stamp duty, it requires at least 3 years, okay, to hold your property. So this effectively, stop this speculative behavior. Okay, and all the people who buy properties actually have more long-term, aspiration. And another very important thing is that unlike stock market, right, there's no institutional investors. Okay, institutional investors in the stock market, they actually can do things like shorting the market. Okay, betting that the market will go down. If the market go down, right, the institutional investor will make more money. Okay, that actually make the stock market like a casino, right? But in the real estate market, fortunately for us, there's no institutional investors. Okay, as such, when we talk about real estate, we don't focus on very short-term gains, but we focus more on long-term and tangible assets, such as urban transformation, school, and MRT. Okay, so there's no speculation, safer for us. Every night, if you buy a property, you can sleep very well. Okay, no need to think too much. Okay, so some of my clients, they also ask me, okay, Eugene, so now I'm convinced that buying property is good. When should I enter, right? So my opinion is that time in the market is more important than timing in the market. Okay, time in the market is more important than timing in the market. When you buy a property, right, okay, fortunately or unfortunately, the best time to buy is always 5 years ago. Okay, the best time to buy is always 5 years ago, right? But 5 years ago, cheaper, right? Okay, but 10 years ago, even cheaper, right? So the next best time is now. Okay, but more importantly is to identify the right property. A property that you like and a property that you believe in. Okay, so that you feel happy, every time you go to see the property building, you feel very proud. And when you collect the keys, you can be very happy to bring your whole family there. Okay, either for homestay or for investment. And one thing that is, you don't need a paper and a pen or a calculator to tell you, right? You just think in a very layman manner, right? You can speak to any of your friends or relatives who have invested in property. Okay, chances are 99% of them made money from property. And 99% of them will tell you they regretted not buying the property 5 years ago, or they will regret buying a small unit instead of a big unit. Okay, 99, you can trust me on this. Okay, if not, you can ask your friends or ask your relatives. However, if you ask your friends or your relatives who invested in other asset class like stocks and crypto, you may get a mixed response. Okay, some people will have made a lot of money, but some people will have lost some money. Okay, so a property is, I would say, 99.99% a very safe investment as long as you identify the right property. Another very common question that I got from my buyers, right, is that is new launch better or resale better? Okay, so a lot of us, if we come into a room and we have a debate, right? Okay, there will be two camps. Some people will say resale better, some people will say new launch better. Okay, in my opinion, I think that a new launch is safer than a resale. Okay, as long as it's priced correctly. Okay, which Eugene will cover later. Okay, one thing that people neglect to understand is that every resale is once a new launch. Okay, resale and new launch is the same. It's just that they are not like two different things, you know what I mean? They are the same. It's just that they are at a different stage of the life cycle. Okay, the new launch is like a baby, right? And the resale can be a young gentleman or older gentleman, right? So which one should you invest in? Okay, so I'll come to it now. Okay, the first point we have to understand is that delayed gratification is equal to capital appreciation. Okay, so would you rather have one sweet today or would you rather have 3 sweet tomorrow? Okay, you can make a choice. Okay, but one thing we know for sure, right, is that if you buy a new launch, okay, there's a delayed gratification. Okay, you probably have to wait 3 or 4 years. Okay, you will pay lesser progressive payment. Okay, but generally you will make more capital appreciation and there's no need to spend money on rental as well. Okay, so this delayed gratification actually leads to capital appreciation because when you buy a new launch, you actually buy a piece of paper. Okay, so when the time it becomes a actual building, right? There's a fundamental change in the asset. Okay, and this will cause capital appreciation. Okay, which we will go into detail soon. Okay, another point that we need to understand is, right, buying a property is a bit like investing in a business. Okay, so when we do a business, right, we know that the higher the barriers of entry, right, typically will mean that it's a better business. Okay, because if you invest in a business, you want to invest in a business with a higher barriers of entry. Okay, this is also known as the moat effect. Okay, you have a moat protecting your castle, and this moat effect, which is the higher barriers of entry, actually leads to higher capital appreciation. Okay, and for new launch wise, right, there's actually more barriers of entry when it comes to a new launch. Okay, so what are these barriers of entry? Okay, first you have the ABSD, additional buyer stamp duty. Secondly, your loan to value ratio if you buy a new launch, if you have an existing loan, okay, is decreased to 45%. And thirdly, there's a delayed gratification effect where you have to wait 3 to 4 years. Some people, they don't like to wait. They want it now, or they are very impatient, right? So there's a higher barriers of entry when it comes to when it comes to new launch. And this is what I want to say. Actually, new launch and resale is the same. Because when you enter a new launch, right, you don't exit as a new launch. When you enter a new launch, right, you actually exit as a resale. Agree or not? Okay, so when you enter a new launch, okay, you enter with a lot of barriers of entry. But when you exit as a resale, right, people who buy your resale will be having to pay you more, okay? Because in the resale market, there's no more barriers of entry anymore. Okay, so you may ask me this, Eugene, who are these buyers who will buy from me 500,000 higher after TOP? You sure or not? Today, if I buy this property, people will be willing to pay me 500,000 higher after TOP. Okay, the fact of the matter is that there are people who is willing to pay 500,000, and the people are as follows. Okay, the first group of people is actually married upgraders. Okay, married upgraders. Okay, so imagine this married upgrader, right? He owns a HDB with 200,000 outstanding loan. Okay, and this HDB is worth $1 million. Okay, a very typical possible to happen. Okay, let me have a sip of water first. Okay, so assuming that they want to buy a 2.5 million three-bedder, without the selling the HDB, right? Okay, they will have to first pay down the loan, or else their loan will no longer be 75%. Their loan will be 45%. So already 200,000 gone already. Okay, but let's say we put aside this 200,000. What is the cash required to buy this $2.5 million property? Okay, first they will have to pay the booking fee, okay, the buyer stamp duty, the additional buyer stamp duty, the exercise fee, and the foundation fee. Okay, all in all, okay, the buyer will have to pay 1.2 million. Okay, and this is quite challenging for most upgraders. Okay, but for this upgrader, if he sell his HDB, right, he will get 800,000. It's easier for him to buy a resale. Okay, so this upgrader will be, if he sell his HDB, okay, he will be able to buy Chuan Park and TOP in 2029. Okay, instead of right now. Okay, and another group of people, right, is actually single upgraders. Okay, so this single upgrader could be only a one-bedder condo. Example in Jetscape. Okay, but he see the Chuan Park is so attractive, he wish to upgrade to a larger unit in Chuan Park. Okay, but they are unable to commit to Chuan Park now. Okay, because if they buy a Chuan Park, they are unable to claim back the interest. Okay, so this is another group. So maybe they will have to wait until 2029. They sell their one bedder and they buy the Chuan Park upon TOP, and they will have to pay maybe 300,000, okay, for the two bedder. So another question is, okay, if you are the upgrader, okay, or if you are the single buyer, right? Right, you can either choose to buy the resale, which is more expensive, or you can choose to sell your current property right now, okay, and maybe rent or stay with your parents first. Okay, because if you look at the capital appreciation, okay, it will be still worth it if you rent, because the capital appreciation and the saving of interest and rental, right, more than cover this rental expenditure. Okay, so if you are unsure about this, because I have limited time today, I can't show you the detailed calculation. Do reach out to your trusted advisor where they can access this for you in the detailed calculation. Okay, if you decide to bite the bullet, okay, and sell your current property and buy a new launch, okay, although you will be slightly uncomfortable, but definitely you have a better capital appreciation, because the delayed gratification effect and the mod effect will give you this capital appreciation in the future. Okay, another thing about why buying a new launch is safer, right, is because this thing called herd mentality. Okay, so this is a real transaction at Jetscape. Okay, so this buyer who bought into Jetscape, right, actually paid 2,342 PSF in a Jetscape unit. Okay, so if this buyer bought this particular Jetscape unit, he would only, if he bought a unit at about 2,342, I would say that for him to sell in the future, he will be looking at least $2,600, isn't it? Right? Because he doesn't want to lose money, right? But it will be quite difficult for this person to achieve this PSF, right? Because 95% of his neighbors, right, actually enter at only 1,007. So 95% of his neighbors, right, will be happy to accept an offer of 2,004, right? So this 2,004 will become what? Will become a resistance, right? Will become a resistance for this person, okay? Unless enough neighbors change blood, change blood, like blood transfusion like that. So enough neighbors have changed blood until enough neighbors start asking for 2006. But this will take a very long time. Okay. However, if everybody enter at the same price, nobody will sell below that price. Okay, because this is a human mindset. Okay, if for example in Chuan Park everybody enter at the same price, okay, then everybody will be calling for a higher price. Okay, but of course, what price to enter? This one I'll leave it to Eugene Go lah. Okay, he will tell you more. Okay, so stay to the end. Okay, so we have already covered, okay, quite a lot already. Okay, but genuinely, right, over a long period of time, okay, because I'm a property investor myself, and I've seen a lot of people invest in property. Actually, in real estate, right, the property price go up. It's not like shooting up like a rocket, but it is going up progressively, okay, because of real reasons, not because of speculative reasons. Okay, and right now we will go into the 5 factors that support real estate prices. Okay, that is the underlying reason why you do see prices go up, okay, over a long period of time. So what actually causes property prices to go up? Okay, and these are the 5 key reasons. Okay, number 1 is population growth. Number 2 is higher income. Number 3 is intergeneration wealth transfer. Number 4 is inflation. And lastly is transformation. Okay, we'll go a bit more into detail right now. Okay, firstly about population growth lah. Okay, actually, if you buy a property in Singapore, right, it's sort of like I don't want to use the word idiot proof, but it is idiot proof lah. Okay, why? Because we are a land scarce country. Okay, and our population is increasing. Okay, so there's a shortage of space lah. Okay, so in such a situation, right, investing in property is good. Okay, because there's always an increasing demand. Okay, so this is the first reason. And Singapore, right, is a melting pot society, melting pot society. So even though we have an aging population, it's not a very big problem like China, right? Because China aging population, in the world, they cannot find more Chinese, right? Very hard, okay? But in Singapore, it's different, okay? In Singapore, if we have a so-called aging population, we can have the Chinese, Indians, or even Malay immigrants, okay? And also anybody can be a Singaporean, right? Okay, anybody who stay in Singapore can actually become a Singaporean because we are a melting pot society, okay? Melting pot. So for us, population growth is the first factor. The second factor, right, is actually higher income. Okay, if you look at our income-wise, okay, one factor, very simple one. Okay, last time when I was very young, the BTO ceiling was 8,000. Okay, now the BTO ceiling is 14,000, almost double. Okay, so you can see from the income level also. Okay, like how many percentile? The 91st to the 100th percentile. Actually, you know, the income increased from 17,000 in 2008 to 2023, now become 28,000. So this is self-explanatory. Okay. Okay, this one is an generation wealth transfer. Okay, so actually, parents are actually helping their children. Okay, parents are actually helping the children. Actually, Singaporeans are getting richer. Okay, so some parents, they actually accumulated wealth, okay, in their lifetime, and they actually transfer this wealth to their children. Okay. Okay, this one is very important. Okay, this one is inflation. Okay, to me, this is very real. Okay, sometimes when we invest in property, right, the person always tell you capital appreciation. Yes, capital appreciation is very important. Okay, but actually what is more important, right, is capital preservation. Okay, what is capital preservation, right? Is you must make sure that your money does not become small. Because $1 million today, right, is not $1 million in 20 years' time when you retire. Okay, so you must make sure that if you are able to afford this amount of things right now, in the future, you are able to afford more. You must be able to beat inflation. Okay, so this chart is very interesting. Okay, so it actually compares the property price index, okay, versus the consumer price index. Okay, so over the last 18 years, right, okay, the consumer price index actually increased by 46%. Quite accurate lah. I remember last time 1 cup of coffee, $1. Now $1.40. Quite accurate. Okay, so imagine if you never invest your money, right? Your money actually becomes smaller, right? Now also sometimes the economic rise also expensive, right? In the NTU can be $6 something. Okay, so but one very good thing is that the property price index actually increased by 100%. Okay, so if you are not the kind who need to make a lot of money, right? you still good to invest in property because it guards against your inflation. Okay, it makes your, at least your benchmark against inflation. It's a hedge against inflation. Okay, so that you are still able to afford a good standard of living in 20 years' time. Okay, and lastly, the effect of transformation on price. Okay, the effect of transformation on price. So we are not talking about speculative things, but rather very long-term effects that will affect your property prices. Okay, so when the government build things around your house, right, they're actually investing billions of dollars, okay, to invest in your house, okay, to build schools, okay, to build roads and all these kind of things. And all these transformation will translate to positive effects, causing capital appreciation. Okay, so it's very important to look out for some of these things as well, okay, which Eugene Ko will cover later. So everything I'm pushing to him. So make sure you stay till the end. Okay, so with this, I'm coming to the end of my part already. Okay, thanks for staying with me. Okay, I'll be passing the baton very soon, but let me do a recap. Okay, so what we have gone through today, the cooling measures actually makes the property market more sustainable and less volatile. Okay, time in the market is more important than timing the market. Okay, if you look at the property market every month, right, not going to change. But you suddenly 5 years later come and see, right, you'll get a shock. Okay, so this is typically what happened. Okay, new launch is actually safer than a resale. Okay, if you find the right one. Okay, and we also go through the key drivers for capital appreciation. Okay, with this, I come to the end of my part. Okay, but after we going through all this, we know that property is good, right? We know that we should invest as soon as possible. We find the right property. So which one is the right property? Okay, so I want to end off by asking you a question. Right? Is that, do you think Serangoon is better or Bishan is better? Okay, do you think Serangoon is better or Bishan is better? Okay, tonight we have a huge crowd tonight. I think more than 500 people. Okay, if I let you all debate for 2 hours, right, you all will not be able to tell me a conclusion, correct? Some of you will say Serangoon, some people will say Bishan, right? But what if we don't have to choose? Okay, what if we can find a home, right, that we can go to Junction 8 in the morning. At night, we can go to next shopping mall, watch a movie, right? Isn't it wonderful or not? Okay, so coincidentally, we do have a project for you that fits this profile. Okay, and this project happens to be in the Golden Triangle, okay, what we call BTS. Okay, BTS is not the boy band, okay, but BTS actually stands for Bishan, Toa Payoh, and Serangoon. Okay, so without further ado, right, okay, I know all of you know what project this is lah. Okay, so without further ado, I'll let Eugene Ko continue to let you explain what is this exciting project in the BTS zone. Eugene Ko, to you.
Before we pass over to Eugene Ko, let me introduce our second speaker today. So he's also an property investor as well as a respected leader within ERA, clocking many years of experience in the real estate industry. Leading a team of over 550 realtors, Eugene has clinched the 2020 to 2023 ERA top division in project sales, culminating in his promotion to Executive Director of Agency last year. He was also once awarded the SEAA Best Leader Award. He is recognized top leaders in the real estate industry and is awarded based on the ethics value and client-first mindset. So, without further ado, let's introduce our Executive Director of Agency, Mr. Eugene Ko. Over to you, Mr. Eugene.
Yes, thank you, Eugene Kang. Thank you, Pei Wen. So I'm Eugene Ko here. So what I will be going through today is firstly some information on Chuan Park, which enjoys both Bishan and Serangoon, like what Eugene Kang mentioned. And also what is the investment potential on Chuan Park, and most importantly, what is the reasonable price. So starting off on Chuan Park, the location of Chuan Park, most of you will have known, we are directly beside Lorong Chuan MRT on the Circle Line. And in our vicinity, there are many schools and many amenities which I'll go through soon. Okay, one MRT stop to Serangoon Station, we have the next shopping mall. One MRT stop to Bishan, we have Junction 8. In our vicinity, we have Ang Mo Kio Hub, we have Woodleigh Mall. Driving distance to famous eateries in Serangoon Gardens, Kovan Market. We have supermarkets around us. A signature is basically 3 to 4 minutes walk at New Tech Park. We have trendy cafes as well as retail, dining, lifestyle concept places. And fact sheet of Chuan Park, total 5 blocks, 916 units. Car park lot, we have 733 lots. Expected TOP date in December 2028. So this date is important because we have many primary schools in our area. Okay, so by December 2028 is our TOP date. Okay, unit mix for Chuan Park, we have a good mix of 2-bedroom to 5-bedroom units. Just focus on the typical size. 2-bedroom units, we have 700 square feet all the way to 743 square feet for the 2+ study. And the 3-bedroom, the smaller size, we have 915 square feet. And this is more known as the more investment type. Okay, 915 square feet, 936 and 958. And the bigger ones, we have up to 1227 square feet. 1,003+ square feet for the 4-bedroom units and 1,550 for the 5-bedroom units. And views. Most importantly is all blocks at Chuan Park are well located to enhance the view. And why do I say that? So we have superimposed the draft site map onto the Google map. And you can see block 1 over here. Block 1 is facing the gap here, overlooking a further view. Block 3 is located here. The outer view overlooks the stadium at Nanyang Junior College. Block 4 and 5 overlooks the landed view. And inwards, we have a lot of pools, a lot of water view, which I'm going to show you now. Okay, so this is the draft site map for Chuan Park. Main entrance over here. When you drive into the main entrance, tuck on the right side, you will see the clubhouse. And when you go further inwards, you will see the lap pool. And we not only have the lap pool, we have a big lagoon pool at the center here. We have kids pool. We have also a wading pool right here. Chuan Park is full condo facilities with tennis court. And also we have 4 side gates. So to the MRT station is very convenient also. Okay, and our perspective is out. This is the staircase to our facilities deck on the higher floor. Okay, and more information will be out very shortly. Okay, next we will go to the Chuan Park investment potential. And when I go through the Chuan Park investment potential, I'm sharing this concept called SML. Okay, and property buyers love SML developments. And what does SML stands for? Not small, medium, large, but S stands for schools. Schools, because parents prioritize properties within 1 kilometer of primary school. And M stands for MRT. Proximity to MRT is key for home buyers, be it for homestay or investment. Even when you invest, tenants love properties near to MRT station. And what is L? L stands for large size developments, because more transactions in the development will help to push up the valuation, which leads to more appreciation. In today's market, home buyers lean towards larger size properties, not in terms of size, but in terms of more units for higher appreciation. And just to go through some developments that have these SML characteristics. SML developments are well received during launch. If some of you remember, Reserve Residences launched last year, 520 units sold on the first booking day. What is the S? Pei Hwa Presbyterian Primary School. The M is Beauty World MRT, and L, it consists of 732 units. Very well received. The next development we can look at with this SML characteristic in the heartland is Grand Dunman. Grand Dunman, within 1 kilometer to a couple of schools, near to Dakota MRT, as well as over 1,000 units. So it is the best-selling project in 2.5 years. In July last year, 550 units sold on the first day. So it's a question mark whether Chuan Park can break this record or not. We will know soon, very shortly. Okay, and in terms of appreciation, what we see is developments with these SML characteristics show very high appreciation. And we will go through, firstly, Jadescape. Jadescape with 1,200 units with TOP 2 years ago. The S is Catholic High, and some blocks are within 1 kilometer to Aitong. So, and M is Marymount MRT, as you can see, is walking distance, very near, and large, over 1,000 units development. And you can look at Jadescape. These are the recent transactions. On 8th of August 2024, this unit 1733, 1,259 square feet, sold at 2,342 per square foot, having a profit of 800,000. And across the board, not only for this unit, but for the rest, the appreciation is very healthy. For Jadescape, a development with schools, MRT, and size for more transactions, and also quite a lot of transactions. Okay, next, we can look at another SML development, the Panorama, located at Ang Mo Kio area, Ang Mo Kio Avenue 2 area. So what is the school? CHIJ St. Nicholas School is within 1 kilometer, in fact, beside. And we have Mayflower MRT within walking distance, and of course, almost 700 units. And what is the appreciation like at the Panorama? Okay, again, we look at the transactions. 15 August 2024, a unit on the 6th floor, 0625, 1,000 square feet, sold for almost $2,000 per square foot, having a profit of 764,000. And across the board, right, different units sold this year, 760K, 910K, 896, 941. It shows very healthy profit across the board for the Panorama. And one last example, we go to Park Colonial, which TOP in the last 3 years. Schools, there are many schools. There's Marie Stella, there's Cedar Primary, there's St. Andrew Junior School within 1 kilometer. We have Woodley MRT right at the doorstep, and large with 800 units. And how is their price performance? Price performance is similarly, 15 August 2024, the unit on 1523, 1152 square feet sold for 2,135 per square foot. There are units that have went for as high as 2,300 plus. So, okay, and the profit is all very healthy, 700, 500,000. That's for Park Colonial. Okay, so what we can actually see here is that Chuan Park as a SML development. Okay, schools. So what schools do we have? Okay, we are within 1 kilometer to 4 to 5 primary schools, depending on block. Starting from St. Gabriel's Primary School, CHIJ, Our Lady of Good Counsel, Zhonghua Primary School, Yangzheng Primary School, as well as Kuochuan Presbyterian Primary School. Okay. Okay, and M, we are directly beside Lorong Chuan MRT. And what is the walking distance? And why MRT is important? Basically, it's good for both homestay and investment. Okay, near to MRT. Okay, we are only 62 meters away from 2 MRT entrance of Lorong Chuan MRT, and is located at a very special circle line. And why circle line is special? Circle line is very, very convenient, which I'll go through later. Okay. So now we go through some benefits of being near to MRT. So this is some data. Mega developments, they are nearer to MRT, appreciate more. So what we did was, we take out the mega developments that have TOP over the last few years, and we extracted the average appreciation since launch. So starting from the near MRT ones are Jadescape, Park Esta, Sterling Residences, and Park Colonia. The further away ones are Affinity, Florence, Riverfront, Treasure at Tampines. So these developments, most of you would have heard before. Okay, so the appreciation since launch for Jadescape is 30%, Park Esta is 31%, Sterling is 31%, Park Colonia is 28%. Whereas for further to MRT developments like Affinity is 16%, still make money lah. Okay, Florence is 22%, Riverfront is 27%. So you can see that mega developments nearer to MRT tend to appreciate a little bit more. Okay, and being on and for Chuan Park being on Lorong Chuan MRT, the Circle Line is indeed very convenient. And why I say so, the Circle Line is running at the circumference of the central region, firstly, and is planned as a line linking all existing rail lines. Okay, so we go in detail. So if you can see, this is Lorong Chuan MRT right here. And one stop away, we link to North-South line at Bishan, Northeast line at Serangoon. And another 2 stops away, we go to Thomson East Coast line, which leads to Orchard Boulevard, as well as Great Wall MRT. Another stop away, we reach Botanic Gardens and MacPherson on Downtown line. And then we move towards Paya Lebar and Buona Vista with Employment, as well as the East-West line. Okay, and all the way down, we can go to Tobiga also. So this is the Circle Line. And you can see every station is at the central area. Okay, and Chuan Park as a SML development is large, 916 units. And being a large development, more transactions will happen, leading to higher appreciation. And why that happens? For homeowners, you have more facilities. For tenants, you have more facilities also. More transactions to support price growth, lower maintenance fee because you have more units to spread the maintenance. It appeals to more buyer segments as well as tenants. That's why larger size development is preferred. Okay. Summing it up, you can see that SML developments are very well received during launch and show high appreciation when the initial owners want to exit. Examples are Jadescape, Panorama, Park Colonia. And Chuan Park is a SML development. And property buyers will love Chuan Park, which is why so many of you are here today. Okay, and Chuan Park is located at a very exclusive neighborhood and surrounded by landed zone. So where are we located? We are located right here at this blue point. Okay, this is the MRT. And we are on our south, we have 2-story bungalow zone. And on our north is again a large landed zone. Okay, and many of these houses here can hit up to 20 million. You can look through 90 million, 6 million, 8 million. So is surrounded by a landed zone. And even the HDB flats around Chuan Park are $1 million flats. On our right side, between us to Serangoon MRT Mix Shopping Mall, the executive flats are crossing $1 million. Okay, and more interestingly, in our vicinity of Chuan Park, which is like what Eugene Kang mentioned, BTS area, Bishan, Toa Payoh, Serangoon. In this cluster, as well as going further by district 19 and 20, and 12 and 13, there are a total of 105,000 flats, which are newer, MOP between 2012 all the way to 2029, which is over 40% of the entire Singapore is right at this cluster. So what we are expecting to see is a lot of potential future Chuan Park owners that will upgrade from these flats. And this number is from District 1920, which form the majority, 91,000 flats that will MOP between 2012 to 2029, and 12 and 13, which is the Toa Payoh area. Okay, another 13,000. So this form the bulk of the newer flats that will be ready to be the future Chuan Park owners. Okay, and the flat prices in this Bishan, Toa Payoh, Serangoon area is on the higher side. At Toa Payoh, you can see the average price for the 5-room is 920,000. Executive is at 1.05 million. And at Bishan, executive average price is at 1.23 million already. And at Serangoon at 988,000 for the executive flats. Okay, and in our area is the highest number of $1 million flat in the entire Singapore. In Ang Mo Kio, Bishan, Serangoon, Toa Payoh, and District 19. This is the highest number of $1 million flat in the entire Singapore between 2012 to now. Okay. Basically, these are the prime HDB now, okay, this location. Okay, flats have crossed 1.5 million in the Bishan Toa Payoh enclave. Okay, so lastly now, we go to what will be the reasonable price for Chuan Park. So what we are going to do is we are going to compare with the new launch and resale price gap. Secondly, we compare with the current new launches, and then we go to compare with the upcoming new launches. Okay, so on new launch resale price gap, we go to what is the resale near us. Okay, and we can see that Chuan Park versus the Scala. Chuan Park located right beside, directly beside Lorong Chuan MRT, and the newest development and nearer to us is the Scala. And the Scala is 11 years old. So Chuan Park, why is it -4? Because we are 4 years away to TOP in year 2028. So we say -4. Scala is 11 years from TOP already. So this is the nearest comparable. So we investigate what is the price at the Scala now. So the Scala mid-floor prices, okay, this year, all 2024 transaction, averagely is 18xx per square foot for mid-floor. Okay, but now the next question is this: what is the reasonable price gap for Chuan Park and the Scala 15 years apart? Like a new car and a 15-year-old car, what should be the price gap be, right? So that is the thing that we want to have an estimate lah. How should it be like? So then now to do that, the question that you need to think of is which new launch is most similar to Chuan Park currently on sale with school, MRT, and large shaded right in the center. As you can see, some developments have school and are large, so they are here because they don't have MRT. Some developments have MRT and are large, so they are here. But I want developments that both have schools within 1 km, have MRT within close proximity, and larger size development. Okay, so to me, the closest match is Grand Diamond, and Grand Diamond is also on the Circle Line, which makes it even more compelling. Dakota MRT is also on the Circle Line. Okay, and then now we look at Grand Diamond, which is walking distance to Dakota MRT. The nearest private resale development we can see here is Water Bank at Dakota. Water Bank at Dakota is also 11 years old, exactly the same as Scala, and the location is right beside Grand Diamond. So it's a good proxy. It's a good proxy to Chuan Park and the Scala. So we investigate the price at Water Bank at Dakota. How is it like? Okay, so the mid-floor price at Water Bank at Dakota this year is also going at 18xx per square foot. 6th floor, 13th floor, 6th floor, 9th floor, 13th floor. It is averaging 18xx per square foot. So from here, we can see that the Scala is almost the same as Water Bank at Dakota in terms of price. Okay, 11-year-old Scala is going at 18xx for mid-floor. 11-year-old Water Bank at Dakota is also going at 18xx per square foot for mid-floor. And with that, Chuan Park will be very close to Grand Diamond price. Both on Circle Line, the resale right beside, same age, also at the same price. And these two developments are SML developments with very similar attributes. Chuan Park is almost equal to Grand Diamond. And with that reasonable price, Chuan Park 10th floor, we will say that based on this, 26xx PSF might be reasonable. And why? Because Grand Diamond, a 7th floor unit, 1,001 square feet, have transacted at 2711 per square foot. So Chuan Park 26xx PSF might be reasonable from this analysis, and maybe below 25xx will be undervalued. Okay, next we compare price to current new launches that are near to the MRT station that is available for sale on the market now. And what are they like? Firstly, also the conclusion will come to the same, which is our mid-floor, which is 10th floor, 26XX PSF will be reasonable again. Firstly, as I mentioned earlier, Grand Diamond launched July last year, 7th floor at 2711 per square foot. And then we can look at Reserve Residences, another SML development, which is near to Beauty World MRT. The 10th floor is transacted at 2656 per square foot. And not too long ago, Hill at 1 North, okay, which is near to Buona Vista MRT, within 1 kilometer to Fairfield Methodist, I think. Yeah, I think so. 6th floor is at 2708 per square foot. Walking distance to Buona Vista MRT, the average is 2692 per square foot based on their mid-floor prices. Okay, so this is near lah. So now we also need to compare what about the launches that are not so near to MRT? So we only compare with nearer to MRT, but what about further away from MRT? So if we compare to further from MRT, we can safely say that 24XX PSF is undervalued. And why? Pine Tree Hill, near to Henry Park, very good, large size, and personally, I love this development. Pine Tree Hill is something that I like also, but it is not near to MRT. Okay, the 8th floor is transacted at 2567 per square foot. Botany at Dairy Farm, almost fully sold. If not fully sold, I think almost fully sold. 9th floor is transacted at 2368 per square foot. Okay, Botany at Dairy Farm is definitely not near to MRT. I think at least 10 minutes walk to Hillview MRT. And we look at Sora, which is launched not long ago, a 9th floor unit at 2391 per square foot. Sora is also another beautiful development, but definitely not near to MRT. I don't think even 10 minutes can walk. So the average of not near to MRT mid-floor prices is at 2442. So for Chuan Park, which is directly beside the MRT station, within 1 km to 4 to 5 primary schools on Circle Line, as well as a large size development at the same price as far from MRT developments, at the same price is, in my opinion, is undervalued. So 24XX. So basically, you can get a unit at 24XX, 25XX, then it's a very good price. Okay. And lastly, we look at what is upcoming. Because after Chuan Park, maybe you want to wait for something else. So what will be upcoming? Let's compare with that now. Okay. And again, Chuan Park, it will be reasonable. Why? Because the maximum land price, because it's on block and, here and there, so we cannot really accurately determine the land price. But in our opinion, in our research, the maximum land price is 11XX per square foot. Okay, but we are pre-harmonized development. But you can see Toa Payoh GLS. Okay, Toa Payoh, which is maybe launching next year. Okay, which is the land price at 1360 per square foot per plot ratio. Clementi, which is also launching next year, 1250 per square foot per plot ratio. And Clementi site is not so near to MRT, but of course, great developer, great location. Okay, but it's not very near MRT. The Toa Payoh is maybe 5 minutes walk to better. And Pine Grove Parcel B, which will be launching also at 1223 per square foot, a great private enclave. Okay, but not so near to MRT like Pine Tree Hill. Okay, so you can see that even if we wait for the heartland developments, that the land price is not really very on the lower side. Okay, so which is why we feel that Chuan Park will be reasonable, even compared with the future launches. Okay, so with that, comparing with all this, we say that 26XX PSF for Chuan Park is reasonable. 24XX to 25XX will be undervalued, comparing with far to MRT developments and near to MRT developments currently on sale now. Okay, and the content today that I've shared, some Chuan Park information, 5 to 6 slides. More information will be sent out very shortly. Okay, so our ERA teammates will be sending to all of you guys. And Chuan Park have great investment potential. It's a development with schools, MRT, as well as its large size. And not any MRT is directly beside Lorong Chuan MRT Circle Line. And not 1, not 2, but 4 to 5 schools. Okay, reasonable price, we have covered that. We have covered new launch resale price gap, looking at Grand Diamond, Waterbank versus Chuan Park Scala, as well as the existing launch price and the upcoming launch price. And also, we have went through what Eugene Kang have shared earlier. Is it safe to enter the property market? Is it the right time? Is new launch or resale safer? And what are key drivers for capital appreciation? So hope that you have gotten something today. But more importantly, while we wait for the Chuan Park to preview, while we wait for our show flat approval to be obtained, what should you be doing now? Contact our ERA trusted advisors, or maybe they'll be reaching out to you. Okay, it's time to view more show flats and also work out your customized financial plan. It's very important to do that so that in case if you want to buy something, you know what you need to do to buy. With that, thank you for your time today and looking forward to see all of you at the Chuan Park show flat. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time tonight. Our ERA's trusted advisor will be available to assist you with more info on Chuan Park. So good night, everyone, and we will see you for our next Ultimate Consumer Seminar. Thank you.